Hi class, welcome to week 5. So the Patriots lost, but I guess we're going to move on. And good job for the Eagles and Foles, that quarterback. He looked like he was a pretty nice guy, so we'll give it to him. They never won before, but yeah, good game yesterday. But if you kind of hear my voice a little melancholy, it's because of the Patriots losing. But on we go. So this week is going to be pretty basic, cut and dry, nothing too complicated. So we're on to step 2 of the evidence-based presentation assignment, and that is to conduct a literature review by searching databases for retrieving evidence relative to your Pico question. So if we look at kind of where we are and what we're doing, we have this a model of evidence-based practice, and a model just shows relationships between the components in the process. So we have inquiry here. First step we did was define our practice question, or our Pico, and here we are getting our evidence this week. So we're not really appraising it, we're just collecting it this week. Okay, so if we talk about having a model, we can use this Johns Hopkins Nursing Evidence-Based Practice Model, and it just means this is the flow of the way we're going to get things done. All right, so step 1, everybody should have written their Pico in the week 4 discussion and gotten a reply from me that said that their Pico was approved for their EBP presentation assignment. If you didn't, please send me an email. Now in this second step, once we have our Pico, there's some good reference materials for you in this week's readings. I would highly recommend you to read a few times the Arizona State University article. It's the first one of the critical appraisal articles. It's called An Introduction to Gathering and Evaluating and Recording the Evidence. And there's a link to it in this week. And it really just walks you right through the whole process there. So that's highly recommended. The other 2 articles talk about what a Prisma diagram is and why we do these. And then there's some videos on how to access PubMed and CINAHL. So really the first step for getting your evidence is to be able to come up with a few keywords that you can go into some databases. The databases are just search engines that will look through thousands of articles for these words that you enter into the database and bring up articles that have these words in them. So depending on what your question is, you should only have to put in your population, your intervention, and your outcome. But if you're looking for something that's pretty general, like management of type 2 diabetes in older adults, what is the effect of exercise on their hemoglobin A1C, that might be too general. So sometimes you will have to put in a few more terms there. So these extra terms can be inclusion and exclusion criteria, and you want to really write down what these inclusion and exclusion criteria are. So first of all, table 2.1 in Pollitt and Beck, go to that and come up with your keywords. Second, and then write those down because we're going to record all of this. Second step really would be to say, what are your inclusion criteria? So you want to probably use the last 5 years for your dates that you're going to search. You're going to use English, studies only conducted in English, and you want studies that are peer-reviewed. If you speak another language other than English, you can also look at articles in that language. So The Prisma diagram is just a recording of this whole process. So when you go to CINAHL and PubMed and enter in those keywords, and again, those recordings, the tutorials this week in week 5 really show you how to put those words in and how to put in inclusion and exclusion criteria. So I'm not going to review it here, but do get a piece of paper, write down the words that you're searching. You're going to put those words into CINAHL and PubMed along with the inclusion-exclusion criteria. I already said this. And then when you press enter, it's going to come up with a certain amount of articles. So this is what it's asking for here: number of records identified through database searching. So write down that number. That's going to be the number that goes here. So number of additional records identified through other sources. So if you read in this week's article from the critically phrased step-by-step series, it also mentions that you can, in some of the articles you find, sometimes you'll be reading through that and you'll notice something that article talks about, and you can look at, they reference it, and you can say, this referenced article might be good for me too. So that's called an ancestry search. So you're reading an article and you use one of the articles that article had cited. So that's these additional articles here. And so screening, you go through, say you use CINAHL and PubMed or Medline. If you use those databases, you might come up with some, in fact, you will come up with some similar articles. So you're going to get rid of any duplicates there. And then those, a good number for you to initially start with is maybe 30. You don't want to go much more than that. So if you are coming up with, after you put in your keywords and you hit search, if you're coming up with, thousands of articles, you need to enter another term to delimit that search. So just send me an email if you're having trouble with this. This is not going to be an exact process. And really, if you were doing a systematic review, this is where, they have those protocols, and this is an exact process that anybody could duplicate. But just for the process of us learning about this, you can kind of ballpark, what the initial articles you got and how many extra ones you found. I'm not going to go back through each one of your methods that you use to find these articles. I just want you to understand the process here. So don't worry if if this Prisma diagram that you come up with is not exactly correct. So screening, this really means you've got those articles that you come up with. Maybe there's 30. Maybe there's 15 of them duplicates. So you have 15 left. So you just want to read the abstracts of these 15 articles, and those are usually available just when you're looking at PubMed. You don't have to download the full PDF of the article. And then right through those abstracts, you should be able to get rid of a few of those. So keep count of how many you eliminated by just reading the abstracts, and you'll put that number of records excluded. And then those you think that you want to use for your evidence base, those you will want to get the full text copy of those and look at those and see if those are good evidence for your project. And so those will be the ones that the final amount that you will come up with to include for your literature review. So that's all we're doing this week. You're not going to really go through those articles or not be asked to go through those articles and appraise them this week. This week you're just coming up with a number and letting me know how you came up with those numbers of studies. So again, any difficulty with this, please sign up for one of the sessions that I have available for my office hour appointments. Tuesday Tuesday mornings, Thursday afternoons. If those times don't work for you, just send me an email and we can work something out. So good luck this week, and looking forward to seeing all your interesting Prisma diagrams this week. Okay, bye-bye.